Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Friday, March 21st, 2025. I, of course, am here with Hammer Solutions. It's your daily mortgage rate update, the only place on the web where you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, broadcasted to you on Facebook and on YouTube from the wonderful Smoky Mountains here in Western North Carolina. Hopefully pretty soon I'll be doing it from my new office. I'll show that to you guys in a minute. But if you're here live, say good morning. Like Megan Lindberg and James Mahan, good morning. And Mallory Fotiadas, good morning. If you're watching on the replay, don't forget, give me a hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you were here and still participate. You know, we like to hear that. Tim Klyla, good morning, sir. Great to have you here, my friend. Hope all is well in Michigan. Man, I feel like I am in Michigan today, Tim. It is 28 freaking degrees here in the mountains. It is cold. I want my warm weather. Spring started yesterday. Where is spring? If you're here this morning, don't forget to smash that like button. If you're on Facebook, give us that thumbs up. Maybe tag an LO friend in the comments. Help me grow the show. If you are on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Also, give it that thumbs up as well. And something with a notification bell or something when I go live. But if you'd like to be notified that I'm going live, you can also sign up for a text alert, hmmr.io/reminder. And or use this cool QR code over here. And if you're on your phone, screenshot it. You can go back in your photos and still use the QR code. Isn't that cool? Sign up to go ahead and just get a quick reminder with the links that I'm going live, so you can be reminded. Again, there's no charge, and you can unsubscribe and cancel anytime. Tim, 32. It's warmer by Tim in Michigan than it is by me. That is just not right. Glenn Boussard, how warm is it out there in Arizona? It's probably a little bit warmer than it is here, but it's still chilly at night. Let me know, how warm is it out there? I'm curious. Angela Walters, happy Friday. Mark Clark, good to see you, sir. If y'all are here this morning, make sure you say good morning in the comments, and we'll keep going. So, all right, let me pull up my thing here. All right, let's get started. We're going to go over and talk about what's going on this happy Friday. Let's see, share the screen, move this back. I don't know why it defaults to that one. It's always annoying. All right, so mortgage-backed securities are up 5 basis points on the day, which sounds exciting, but it's really not. Let me tell you why. I'll give you a quick recap over what happened yesterday. Good morning, Mike Tebow. Glenn Boussard said it's 49 degrees. I would take 49 degrees. Good morning, Allison Foy. All right, so look down here at the right, y'all. So yesterday, mortgage-backed securities, 6.0 coupon, they were right around 101.63, 101.64 as pricing came out, right around 10 a.m., a little bit less than that, around 10:30, but not too far off that, right? And you could see that we kind of just dribbled down and lost some ground during the day. Now, my lock advice yesterday, I had said, hey, let's float to start the day because we started out much higher. But then the advice was, if we see that kind of give up the gains, to go ahead and lock. And I did issue a lock statement on our text alerts. By the way, if you are not signed up for our text alerts, you can sign up for those at www.ratetextalerts.com and get a text in the morning, text in the afternoon, and alerts when we think reprices worse are at risk. So yesterday we did send out a text alert, and there were a handful of reprices worse. So I think there were about 12 or 15. Not a ton, but there were enough. And it looked like this morning pricing was going to, get a little bit worse as we started the day. However, what you can see here, look here on this side of this happy little dotted line, there's a big jump up and mortgage bonds were doing amazing. And it was like, okay, well, maybe we're getting a second bite at the apple. And then boom, look at this. Right around 9:15, it just fell off. Now, this is the 6.0 coupon. Let's take a look at the 5.5, and you'll see same thing. It was a little bit earlier in the morning, right? But basically the same thing happened. And what that tells us is watch what's going on with bonds. Traders not really feeling it. So overnight trading, big improvement, but then it dropped down. Now we may start watching the 5.5 next week because we've seen rates creep lower. But this is my point here is it doesn't matter which of these you're looking at. You're seeing the same behavior, right? We're seeing that same behavior. There's a little bit of erratic volatility this morning for mortgage bonds, not enough to get excited about. Let's take a look at the 10-year Treasury yield. It's telling us a story, and we want to listen, all right? So let me zoom in on this one. All I want to do is zoom, and refresh my page so I can scroll. All I want, yes, there you go. All right, so take a look here. Look at this 200-day moving average, this purple line, all right? That's a very solid line in the sand. We broke below it and pop back above it. We're broke below it, pop back above it. here we are again, testing it one more time. Do it, baby, one more time. Once is never enough for the 10-year treasury. All right, so 4.21. We're watching this. It's a 4.23. If we see this 10-year break above 4.23 and close above it, it's probably going to do what it's done in the past, and you'll see it creep a little higher for a few days, creep a little higher for a few days. Now, all of this to say, I don't really like where all this stuff is. And if it were my loan and it's closing in the next 15 days, I'm going to lock that puppy up. If it's past that, then you can cautiously float. So less than 15, lock. And all the rest, cautiously float. So I'm going to throw this up on the screen so y'all have it. Here is my lock advice for the morning. Good morning, Yasmin Martin, Mike Schmolgan, and Jared Vincent. Thank you for joining me. So take a look here at my lock advice. I would lock anything that's closing in the next 15 days and just sleep well this weekend. We've seen what mortgage-backed securities are telling us is that they're really struggling. And look here, you can see this right here. They're really struggling. They've come up, they capped, they fell. They come up, they've capped. I think we're going to see a little bit of a fall again. Now, there's not a lot going on next week. Let's take a look together at what's going on next week. Let me make this full screen so you can get a little bit of a better view. Let's look at the economic calendar here through MBS Live. Next week, Monday, we've got global service PMI data, S&P Global Manufacturing PMI data, composite manufacturing, or composite PMI data, right? So we've got some PMI data. We've got some Fed speakers on Monday. You see Matt Graham and MBS Live have a little yellow star next to this one being a bit of a market mover, right? Tuesday, you got your building permits and new home sales and stuff, but really not anything to get excited about here. We've got consumer confidence is something to keep an eye on. Wednesday, we've got durable goods orders, right, is kind of jumps out at me. Thursday, we've got jobless claims, which you get every Thursday. We've got the fourth quarter GDP data. This is the final. All right. So remember, when you get GDP data, we get the preliminary, revised, and now the final. And then you've got the 7-year note auction that day as well. And then on Friday, the PCE inflation data. And that's going to be the bigger one for the week. It's for markets to move. Now, the reality is there's not anything here to get excited about that's going to help bonds break through. They're kind of hitting this ceiling here. And unless we see something to give them a push, right? Think tush push, Philadelphia Eagles fans, think lifting it up higher here, right? Unless we get something like that, it's not likely that we see rate sheets really improve that much. So because of that, if it's closing in 15 days, I'm locking. You never know when we're at the top, but when we've gotten up here and broken and gotten up here and tested it yesterday, gave back the gains that we started the morning with, all those things really pointing to, hey, it's a good time to go ahead and lock those loans. That's kind of where my take is on that and kind of what I would be doing. Looking at the headlines, there's really not anything going on in the headlines to get excited about. There's nothing that we can really talk too much about. Let me bump this window to fit in here next to me. What do y'all think, by the way? How many of you are like, hey, let's just float this puppy out there? Again, if you've got time, I don't think we have to worry about rates really moving higher from here. Rates aren't going to like jump, but let's use Mortgage News Daily. Let's look at that for a minute, right? So looking here, 6.71, that's basically matching the best level that we saw here on March 4th was 6.70. Since then, they tend to creep up an eighth, and that's about it. I mean, really, this is just a nice, happy place for mortgage rates. They're not moving significantly higher. All that talk of tariffs, it's kind of blown by. Markets more concerned that tariffs are going to cause economic softening, economic hardship. Hardship's kind of a strong word, but they're going to slow the economy more than they're worried about inflation. Fed came out this week, said tariff inflation would be considered transitory, really kind of signaling that they're not going to make any, drastic action if they see inflation not improve, because they know that the tariffs are going to influence that, and also that they're not necessarily against cutting because they feel like that would be something that would be holding back. Taking a look at what markets expect, the next meeting in May, market's not expecting a rate cut, very little, 15% expectation. We'll probably see this fall. June is the big time where markets believe we're going to see our first rate cut. Over 60% believe we'll see a rate cut. Only 25% believe we won't. So 2/3 believe we'll see a rate cut by June. And by December, market's still pricing in 3 quarter-point rate cuts. There's about a 35% expectation we will only see 2 or less, but there's a 35% and a 22% and a 6.7% that we'll see more. So that's, kind of all that same thing going on here. Really, I looked at all of it. Glum end to markets week as tariffs loom. They're talking more about stocks, but overall, really, there's just nothing going on. It should be a quiet day. There is some risk to repricing, but not a lot. Reprice risk on the day is low, but it was low yesterday, and we did send an alert. But we only saw a handful of reprices worse, even when bonds were starting to lose ground, but we thought it might get worse than that. We're going to be watching that 6.0 and the 5.5. They're very similar. They tell a slightly different story, but nowhere near as different as the Sleeping Beauty original from 1937 and the Sleeping Beauty live remake that everybody is trashing on. Hey, so there's a question of the day. Would you watch the Sleeping Beauty remake? Would you watch the Sleeping Beauty Snow White remake? I would not watch it, not because I'm against anything, because these people burning Teslas and stuff, I don't get it. When Budweiser, Bud Light, when they went woke and everybody stopped buying it, I understand that. You don't want to support something, you don't want to buy it, you want to sell yours, fantastic. But running around burning other people's cars, what is that about? What is that about? And spray painting on dealerships and repair centers, and people are just what they've lost their minds. So anyway, this is not a political thing. It's just kind of a funny thing. So my point was the Snow White. I don't care if Rachel Ziegler stands up and screams all of her political beliefs in her underwear. Doesn't matter to me. If it's a movie, I'll watch a movie. If it's any good, I can immerse myself into a lie and pretend. And she's playing a character, so I don't really care about the real Rachel Ziegler, and I don't care about her stuff. We're not going out for lunch. I'm watching a movie, but this movie, it looks creepy. And my wife was a big Snow White fan, bigger Sleeping Beauty fan, which is why that popped into my head. But I don't know. I don't know. So I'm curious. Jason said he has an 11-year-old daughter. So Jerry Miller, no, I don't blame you, Jerry. I don't think you would. Allison, when it comes to TV, so you won't pay the theater prices for it, but I won't even watch it when it comes to TV. Brandy Snow Woburn. Oh, that's funny. All right, my friends. So anything else that y'all want to talk about this morning, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, what are you doing this weekend? I am living the bachelor life. Oh, I wanted to show you all the barn. You guys want to see the barn? Let me show you what I'm up to at the barn. Let me stop screen sharing. All right. So the barn got built last week. Let me go ahead and give me a second. We're going to turn off these fancy center stage portrait studio light. All right. There you go. There it is. We got a barn. Can I zoom in? I don't know if I can zoom in. I'm trying. Nope, can't zoom in on this. So that's the barn. Hopefully I'll be up there in my new office by July. It's all rough framed. Got to run the electric. Got to insulate sheetrock. Yada, yada, yada. But I'm not doing it when it's 24 freaking degrees outside, which is just ridiculous right now. So anyway, my friends, what are you doing this weekend? Let me know in the comments. Tim Clyler will watch it when it comes to streaming. I don't think I'll even watch it then, but Tim said, that is a barn. Yes, it's a barn. I finally got my barn. Jerry, you playing golf? Have fun, man. Organize their new 16-foot shed. I'm 16 by 32, baby. Hammer in the barn. That's it. That's where I'll be coming from. So I'm looking forward to it. Not that I don't love my home office here, but I'm looking forward to separate space, more whiteboards. Giddy up, Randy Teagle. But anyway, my friends, that's that. If you missed anything, circle up, watch it again. And I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a fantastic weekend, my friends. Bye-bye.